welcome everybody to Scarves and Spikes, the 2023 season finale. Is that what we're gonna call this?
Yeah.
Let's call it that. This is exactly what it is.
Well, happy early New Year to everyone and to you guys.
Yeah. How's everyone's holiday? Really good what they wanted from the big guy, Santa Claus.
I got an Xbox Series X, so I'm all set. My wife
I
hooked me up.
saw that. That's awesome. So you
Yep.
picking up FIFA or what?
It's gonna be FIFA soon, but look, I'm gonna reveal my nerd right now. I had to play the Hogwarts game. I freaking love Harry Potter, and I wanted to play it on the new system, so
Gotcha.
I just kicked that off before we started here. So here I am.
Gotcha. I wish I got an Xbox Series X for Christmas, but it is what it is. It's fine.
We should stream Halo or some FIFA one night.
Yes, we should.
People see how bad we are at video games.
2024 extra bit of content that we do.
Tommy, what did you get?
I got a new area. Like, I'm in an entirely new room. I got a new desk, a new light, a new backdrop. Really? I got a little bit of everything. So I moved out of my wife's Harry Potter closet under the stairs. So second Harry Potter reference of the day, and now
Harry Potter themed episode. Here we go.
I got a like a survival knife for my car or something like that. As a flashlight, as a Swiss Army knife, kind of hooked up to it too. So it's pretty cool.
That's amazing, and not at all what I thought you were going to say.
Wait, did you say light or knife?
Swiss Army knife with a flashlight attachment, or a flashlight with a Swiss Army knife attachment to it, a glass breaker, and all that. So it's pretty cool. I also got a Amazon gift card, and a Chick-fil-A gift card. So yeah, pretty happy. Got some clothing too, and some other stuff. But yeah, pretty happy with the haul this year.
I want an update on the first time you have to use your knife.
Yes, I will. Definitely. I hope I never need to use it, but yes, I'll be sure to pass along an update. But
I'm sorry.
Glad to be back with you guys. And yes, Tommy said last show of the year. So Tommy, I guess what do we have in store for tonight?
So we're going to go over all the news. There's been a lot of news since we last talked. I know you guys did the draft episode, right? Immediate reactions from the draft. So if you want to go back and watch the video from last week that Tyler and Sydney did, check that out. But we're going to talk about news. There's been a lot of news. The most exciting draft in all of sports, the re-entry draft of MLS. We'll go over that real quick. And then... Yeah, right. And then the 2023 review, right? I mean, let's kind of just sum up the year and talk about everyone's favorite moments and get ready for 2024.
And
I'm ready for
and we have a giveaway.
Oh.
So I guess that leads into, what did you do yesterday, Tyler?
Yeah, we can dive into that because it was a busy day. So I spent the morning, soccer sicko. We got up early and went to Boxing Day, and phenomenal time. And by the way, up until we do this, guys, if you haven't entered this giveaway, it's an Atlanta United flag, similar to the one behind me. Not quite the same. We have a picture. Maybe we can get it put up on here in a minute. We have it up on Twitter and Instagram, but all you gotta do is like and retweet it or post it with a friend's name on Instagram, one or the other. That'll get you an entry, and that'll get you all set up for the giveaway. But yeah, Boxing Day, big thing in England, obviously. And Atlanta United hosted a couple of shindigs yesterday.
Nothing to do with fighting, by the way.
Not the boxing. My 12-year-old son mentioned that yesterday. He was like, it's like a boxing match type thing. I was like, no, I mean, but that's fair. That's fair.
Not quite.
So, we went to the Brew House Cafe off of Moreland Avenue. They had another one up on the north side, and great place, by the way. I mean, I can't say much about the other one, but Brew House, it was really nice. They had really good brunch, which they typically do. Really good brunch. You get to sit there, hang out, watch all the games. None of them went my way, which sucked.
Sorry to hear that.
But it was a great time, man. I got to hang out, meet a lot of folks that listen to the show, watch the show. Atlanta United fans of Fulham. My middle son is a Fulham fanatic, and he has been invited honorarily into one of the Atlanta Fulham clubs. and
Very
I'm just, I
nice.
guess, his chauffeur now. So, no, it was a great time. And while there, Atlanta United provided me slash us, gave them to me. I'm just the delivery man for a few flags to be able to give away. So if you guys remember back earlier this season, we had my brother-in-law Tony Leon, who is also the Flags Out host for Atlanta United on, and Flags Out, great competition. Go back and watch that video because he explains it really, really well. They give away all kinds of stuff, guys, so you should be entering into it.
Trips,
And
gear, all kinds
yeah,
of
I mean,
stuff.
they sent people to the World Cup last year. They're flying people out for away matches, like giving all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff, gift cards, everything. So enter it. And then this flag can get you one step closer. And actually, after that episode with Tony, one of our listeners actually won the next
Yeah, he
giveaway for
did.
Flags Out, which is really cool. So
Yes, he did.
we'll give that flag out here in a
You
little
never
bit.
know. You never know.
Yep.
Could be you.
Could
Manchester
be me.
United had a hell
Or
of a
you.
win on Boxing Day.
Yeah, they did.
From 2-0
Yes, they
down,
did.
right? Against who was it again? I
Aston
forget.
Villa.
Aston
Yeah.
Villa. Aston Villa is who is in top 4, by the way. In the top 4 in European spots. I mean, really no one saw it coming, really. But yeah, good to see Man United and their long-suffering fans finally get a victory and break the streak of losing. So, Tommy,
No streak
very
of
happy
not
for
scoring
you.
a goal.
Streak,
Like
yeah,
but
that too.
this was starting to
That
feel like
too.
old Atlanta United from a little while ago, like pandemic area Atlanta
it was like
United,
Good to
where
see.
450 minutes.
couldn't score a
Good to see
goal.
Rasmus Højlund get off the mark for
Yeah.
Man United as well. So congrats. Hopefully that kicks things off for him. But yeah, that was fun. I was driving home from Kentucky where my dad lives, so unfortunately was unable to really partake in Boxing Day festivities. But yeah, I saw that you had a good time, Tyler. Maybe next year I can join you.
It was
Or
great.
yeah, but
It was great.
yeah, if you're watching, definitely enter for the flag giveaway on X. If you're listening to the podcast, we'll hopefully have a giveaway for you soon as well. But yeah, a lot of fun stuff going on. Even though it's off season for Atlanta United, a lot of stuff going on for
So
the off season.
So what happens during the off season, right? Kind of got a checklist, right? Rumors start, schedule comes out, kit gets released. Well, we've gotten a lot of these so far, right? So let's get into, I think, some of the transfer rumors, right? Let's first get into the draft, because the re-entry draft, the biggest one, and Atlanta United makes a move, gets the top spot, and picks up Derek Williams from the New England
Yeah.
Revolution.
Yeah, it's important that you mentioned they traded for that top spot in the re-entry draft. We kind of joked about it earlier, but they that was a premeditated move for them to get Derek Williams. So that was a move that they knew they had to make to shore up the back line. And just as a quick aside, he's not officially signed to the club as of yet. They have to make him an offer. I forget how many days it was, but they have to make him an offer, or
It's 7
if
7 days.
7 days. So I believe we're past that 7-day mark or close to it.
I don't think so.
Okay. So yeah. So we should expect to hear something hopefully soon as far as official contract for Derek. But yeah, as you said, Tommy from DC United, former LA Galaxy man, they signed him, I believe, on 3-year deal, a very lucrative 3-year deal, high level TAM from overseas, from Premier League or the Championship, I forget which, but very high level TAM deal with LA. LA traded him to DC. DC was his club up through this year, and DC decided not to renew his contract, essentially because he's commands a whole lot of money. So I would expect, I kind of mentioned this, I think, on Twitter or X or whatever it's called. I would expect that if Atlanta United, and when Atlanta United do make him an offer, it's going to be below what he was getting with DC United. I mean, it has to be, right? He's 30 years old. I mean, he's not an old man, but really getting toward the quote unquote twilight of his career. So he's not going to command 7 figures like he did with LA Galaxy when he came over to the US. But yeah, American, I think his father is American, and for that reason, he does not require a green card. So
No,
he's not taking up international
he's born
slot.
in Germany, but
Born
yeah,
in Germany, yeah.
he
But
no
his
no
mother's
international
Irish.
slot or nothing like that.
Yeah, but yeah, his mother's Irish, and yeah, as you said, Tyler born in Germany to an American father as well. So
And also, um, hopefully this is not like a sign, but we speaking of Aston Villa, went through Aston Villa's academy. So I don't want that to
you get
be
going.
any throwback to what happened to them yesterday. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, guys. I think like this entire center back core needed something, right? It was going to have to be rebuilt because the only one that you kind of knew for a fact was going to be there
Yeah,
was Abram. We got everything going on with Miles, everything else. And now you've got a guy who he's got the experience. And talking with some of our Galaxy folks, DC folks that have their podcasts and everything, kind of chatting with them about it. They said, aggressive, super aggressive guy. I
yeah.
mean, can have his occasional mental mistake, right?
But
But
who doesn't,
he
right?
doesn't.
I mean, who
Yeah.
doesn't? Yeah.
I saw his red card on YouTube. Oh
Yeah.
boy,
But
went for that
hey,
man's soul.
I'll take that aggression though. I'll take that aggression because somebody has to be an enforcer back there. And I don't think he's going to be starting every game. I think
Right.
whoever they go after next is probably going to be that pairing with Abram. But I think he'll fight for minutes for sure.
Yeah, it's not.
Is
It's not a
Abram the other
sexy,
starter though?
I think right now, unless something
yeah.
changes.
Yeah, and it's not a sexy signing. I mean, he's not signed yet, obviously, but it's not a sexy move. I mean, he's not like a top 10, that's 11 kind of center back or anything like that. But it's a good deal. It's a solid move to get somebody of his quality and his experience up with Atlanta United. So I like the move. Have to see what the ultimate deal is if and when they do sign him. But again, Tyler Tomlin, as we were talking about, they didn't move up to the number one draft spot for nothing. They plan to get him. This was their guy that they wanted to at least short that back line, especially with the growing potential of Miles Robinson leaving. So it's a good move. I like it, and I'm excited to see Derek Williams with Atlanta United in 2024 and maybe the next couple of years. Omar
Omar.
saying in our chat, this is no comment. Efrain Morales disrespect. I will not stand for it. I'm not disrespecting them. We're not disrespecting
You need
them.
experience. You need
He's
experience in that spot.
Experience, and Noah Cobb and Efrain Morales are not experienced.
I would not want
That's
Noah
not a
Cobb.
bad thing, but
I would not want Noah Cobb to be in the position of being the third guy
yeah,
in a two center back system that doesn't get time because he needs
exactly.
time. He has to have that time. He'll be fine. I think Noah Cobb is going to be a great center back as he gains that experience. But y'all got to remember, like Noah Cobb is young and he's still literally still growing physically. I don't mean like emotionally, mentally, everything else. I mean, he's literally still growing. So, yeah, he's going to be there. I absolutely believe that. And the club rates him very highly. But just got to give him time. And you don't want him to be riding the bench, not getting minutes.
Right.
Thought you were gonna say he was still recovering from that Columbus game at the beginning of the
Well,
year.
I mean, look, that was rough. That's not on him though.
Yeah.
Oh,
No doubt. No doubt.
Oh no doubt.
So yeah, that's Derek Williams, guys. And
Yeah. Well, then we wake up
was a
this
good
morning though, right? And as our friend Henry called it, the purge of the U22s. And if you've seen the Purge movies, you know what we're talking about. Santiago Sosa possibly on his way out to racing. This needs
I
to
think it's a great
happen,
move.
right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, he fell off Pineda's plans, plain and simple. And I feel like with him having the chance to go down there, racing a big club in Argentina, I feel it's a perfect move for him. Cesar Luis Miranda saying on X, I believe it's a 1 year loan with an option to buy at the end of the loan, which is perfect, especially with Santiago being with the team or under contract for the next year. So yeah, I think it's a good move. Again, a racing club, they're a good team. I don't follow the Argentine league that closely, but I know that. I mean, they're no Boca, they're no River, but Racing are kind of up there. Racing Newells, those are kind of like the big clubs as far as I know. But yeah, I if this comes to pass and Merlot is pretty well connected, I feel like it was a good move for Santi. Chance to go back home and play with a club that is of some repute in his home country. So again, with him kind of falling, I don't want to say falling out of favor, but just not being in the plans of Pineda, especially toward the end of the season, we kind of forgot about him. I feel like, but no, I think it makes sense for both parties. I mean, where are you going to put him? I mean, you have Moonba, you have Jay Fortune in here, you have presumably another player that you want to bring in for that sixth role. Ibarra is with Toronto. He was obviously to Toronto. I don't think he's coming back. I think that bridge is well burnt by this point in time, or at this point in time. So I think the move makes sense for both parties. And Santi, again, going back home to a club like Racing Club, who are again one of the top clubs in Argentina, makes perfect sense to me. It's just from my vantage point. What do you guys think?
You bring up Ibarra, right? I mean that's the other part of this equation too, because what is the future of the U22 spot? We didn't see any changes in the whole governance of the MLS meetings. Nothing really changed there, which I think a lot of people were hoping for. That ends up not happening, so everything's exactly the same. Does Atlanta go to the one U22 spot and just roll with that for the remainder of the year to give yourself some flexibility on how you run, the DP spot? Still silly. Wish they would have changed that so that the U22s didn't affect the DPs, but MLS is still, behind 10 years on trying to advance themselves, right? But Ibarra is most likely the next one
right
out,
there.
right? Ibarra's got to be. You have to think that he's on his way out at this moment. Mascara's just shown us so much, and like that was not on anyone's bingo card, right? He comes back, no playing time.
I mean,
and it's just,
hold up. I'm chopped liver now, right? Doug owes
we
me.
said nobody really thought about what Mascara was going to do here. Well, we didn't know because he didn't play, right?
No,
he went on loan and he hadn't played for basically a year. And you think he's coming in here and he's not going to be able to do anything, and all of a sudden, after you bring on two starting wingers, he comes in and is able to get time off the bench, and he's doing a hell of a job. And I think that's what we always knew about him, was that he's very fast. He'd be really great to come in as a sub or a super sub, whatever you want to call him. When you were calling him a super sub, Tyler, I was laughing at you. Yeah, but he actually showed that he was a super sub at times, because there were 3 or 4 times where in the first 5 minutes of the game, he comes in and he immediately scores a goal. The playoff game at home, obviously, was one of them. But like that was very impressive with him. And if you moved on from Machol, he's gone. If you have Tyler Wolff and Mascara as your two, backup wingers, I think that you're in a pretty good situation with what you have going into next year.
Yeah. And here's the thing about Sosa. He is not a guy that's going to go down to Racing and end up disappearing from the face of the earth. The guy's still got talent, but he had a lot going on. I mean, he had the sports hernia surgery right after he got run ragged in 2021. Absolutely run ragged. But he was Heinze's guy. And then he got like the mystery illness or COVID or whatever. Like, I don't know. He just kept being sick. He couldn't stay healthy, never could stay healthy. Then it was an ankle thing, and then it was something else, and this and that and the other. And it's like, when you see something like that happen, we know the guy's got talent in the right system, because there was a point when in the beginning of 2021 when everybody was like, well, he is the bright spot of this team, So yeah, he's going to go and he's going to land on his feet, and he needs a change of pace. He needs a change of environment. It might be good to be back home. He's going to a club that's pretty decent. I mean, right now in the second phase of the Argentine Premier League, he's doing fairly well. Mid-table team in the first phase. So like, it's not the last we'll hear of Sosa, I'm sure, but the whole number 6 position needed an overhaul as well. We just talked about the center backs. It had to change, and he just didn't fit the system. He did not fit it. So I'm happy for the move. I'm not because I like to see a guy go, because I don't, but you got to do what's best for the club. And this is by far the best move for the club.
Yeah, for sure.
So
we'll let those rumors commence, because I'm sure those will start coming out here in the next few weeks at least. We got to start seeing rumors come out with him.
Again, it's Merlot, and Merlot's pretty on point. So I imagine we hear something official pretty soon. But yeah, looks like Santi is all but gone from Atlanta United.
I'm gonna hit really quickly on this before Tommy, before you bring us to the next thing. Jack was saying, your question. I know you're saying about Jay Fortune being ready. He's a little older than Noah. Is he way ahead in terms of maturity? I mean, I wouldn't say from like a maturity perspective. You know, we've talked to both of them at the training ground. I've seen them both obviously play for the twos. Um, I will say that Pineda has consistently ranked Jay Fortune very highly. But it's also apples and oranges. That's not to say that he doesn't think Noah is a great player, because he's had many great things to say about Noah. But Jay is just, for that position, what he does is progressing so well. And then you got to throw in the part that a lot of people don't see, and that's the sports science side of things. And I mean, you've got players like Jay Fortune and Aiden Torres, who we haven't really talked about much, who's also going to be joining the first team come January 1st. And, you know, these guys are that young. I mean, Aiden Torres is 15. I think he's about to be 16, or he just turned 16. And he is literally physically putting out the same effort as many actual MLS first team players that are, you know, in their prime. So that's something that you don't hear a lot of. That's something I got from the interview I had with Carlos Bocanegra and everything that we put up on Dirty South Soccer a couple of 2 months ago or whatever. And it was those kind of things that the fans don't see a whole lot of. But Jay just is, he was there at the right time. He was progressing well for the twos. He was a leader for the twos. National team, right? He had some national team call-ups. And so, you know, it's not a knock on one to say the other one's progressing well. It's just that they're in different levels right now because they're at different positions. And to be fair, there hasn't been a really great veteran midfielder. I mean, I'm sorry, center back for Noah to really just like stick to and learn from. He didn't really have a Michael Parkhurst, right? But Jay has the benefit of having a whole coaching staff full of midfielders that were, you know, good midfielders during their day. And that helps a lot, right? You got a coach that's played that position before, and it can really help develop a young player. So Jay's going to be good. He's going to make mistakes, and that's fine. But he'll continue, I think, on the same path that we've seen Caleb Wiley on. It's my prediction.
Yeah.
And you've seen youth.
A lot of youth in the system for sure.
And you've seen the youth move forward too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you've seen the kids do right. You've seen Chop. You've seen Tyler Wolf. Like those are two ones that really made an impact on the season. I know Chol couldn't stay healthy, but when he was a game changer at points late in games, and that's really that, you know, all you can ask for until eventually, you know, they get a starter role, or they move on to another team where they get more playing time.
Well,
100%.
I know we're on the off season, but there's a schedule to talk about for 2024, isn't it?
Oh man, I love planning. I love planning. I love planning travel. Yeah, I think that's everyone's day. You saw everyone on X, Twitter, just constantly, you know, saying what games they want to go to. I will just personally say that the flight costs are insane right now.
It's insane.
Like it's disgusting. Like a flight from Cleveland to Atlanta is like $160 right now. Like that's pretty expensive for over the past few years. I've been paying anywhere between like 80 to like maybe 110 for a round trip. They're going up, man.
Those fuel prices are killer, aren't they?
I guess, but
you
man,
could just
I
drive
hope
like
it calms down.
So
I'm not driving. I have a bad back, man. I can't.
I got up there to you for MLS Cup, and I felt like
and I saw how you walked after you got out of that car. You walked in. He came to my house and he got out of the car, and you could see him walking like an old man. That like his body was like a zombie and stiff. No, I would be worse than that.
So let me ask you guys this: if money were no object, what would be your ideal away day for Atlanta United? If money were no object,
LA,
Tyler.
LA is definitely a good shout. I mean, I hate to be that guy, but I would love to go down to Miami and see what they're doing.
I would say Montreal. Montreal, I hear, has a really good vibe to it. And Tommy, you're talking about field prices,
And
flight prices. I feel like those are pretty expensive in Montreal, but I'd love to go there again if money were no
my
object.
my honorary, maybe I don't want to say honorable mention, but St. Louis as well,
Yeah,
because I've heard so much about them and how great the
year
vibe is.
one.
and everything.
True.
Yeah.
So
Well, what I wanted to focus, I mean, we're gonna have a long time. We've got a while till the season actually starts, which is February 24th. But what I really want to focus on real quick here is just the first month of the schedule because, that's how it starts off. A lot of people on Twitter have said that Pineda has to start out strong. So to kind of because he's only got a year left on his contract right now. He's not extended. He's there's a lot of expectation here, and the season doesn't start off easy, right? So in February you've got one game, and it's in Ohio. I feel like I've been to like the last like 8 Atlanta United games, and it'll continue as the season starts. But you're starting the season off in Columbus in February. It's gonna be cold, and it's gonna be the banner raising, whatever you want to call it, for the crew. They call it cruise miss. It's gonna be a big game for them. But that's how Atlanta starts off. The first game of the year against the crew, which is going to be no easy feat at all.
and it's gonna be at 2 p.m. No other matches scheduled for that time. So a lot of eyes are gonna be on that match for that reason we
Yeah.
were talking about, Tommy. Defending champs, the ceremonies before.
Yeah, and and that's fine. And I think that when we've done this, but we did this last season, where we looked at the schedule, and maybe we said it's easy or hard. There's still a lot of moves to be made, so we don't really know what teams, what they're going to look like. But if you're just looking at it, you go into March, you've got 4 games in March, and you start off with your home opener against the New England Revolution, which we're really not sure what this new Revolution. They've got a lot of change coming to them, front office wise, probably team wise as well. You start off at home with them, and then the following week you go and you play Orlando at home as well. Like you go third game of the season, you're facing one of your bigger rivals. It's not easy because I think one of the things we know after looking at the salary release from Orlando, they have a lot of money that they can spend. They can go pick up DPs. I think they had no DPs when we looked at it, right?
yeah, there was a point where it was pretty empty, pretty empty.
Yeah, you
So if
got
they can get the wallet out, they can go. They can improve this. I mean, they were second in the West, I think, right? Or second in the East. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
yeah, and they
Yeah.
had so many expectations on them too, especially with Pereira coming back on a renewed contract. But they have so many expectations. McGuire leading the line for them. What will year two look like for him? Some of these other pieces with the team. Um, it's gonna be a good team, Orlando, and yeah, you talk about uncertainty, but yeah, as you're just saying, they have a lot of money in the bank, and if they add a few more pieces, this could be a team that really challenges for the top of the East once again, and maybe could be a sleeper supporter shield winner, supporter shield contender if the pieces fall into place. So that's not going to be an easy game for Atlanta United, even though it's going to be at home.
Yeah, and then it gets harder because you're going on the road to Toronto, and I know Toronto's bad, and we'll see if they make some moves. But Toronto in March,
Yeah,
that could be worse than February in Columbus, right?
Yeah.
well, with Herdman coming into Toronto, Herdman, it sounds like he's going to really put a stamp on the team. He's going to work for his technical staff to bring in players who can really affect this team. Like you said, this was a dreadful club last year, and they just essentially cleaned house. But it looks like they have some real ambition. Herdman has made no bones about the fact that, we want to just erase what happened last year, last couple of years, and get this club back on track. This was one of the top clubs in MLS, but they've just fallen off. And Wooden Spoon winners last year in 2023, but with a new kind of regime in there, they have a lot of expectations. They want to get back to the top. So I feel like they're going to have a chip on their shoulder coming in. Don't know what the roster makeup is going to be just yet for them, but the Italians are still there. They're going to have to really, really get right. I mean, the return on investment, those are two really ambitious signings, and they haven't paid off in really any stretch of the imagination. So pressure's on them to perform.
Yep.
For sure. And then you just finish up the month at home again on a Sunday. So there's some. It seems like they're trying to differ up the times a little bit here. But you have a Sunday game against Chicago. We'll see what Chicago is. I always feel like there's a hype every year over Chicago, and there never happens.
There's a late game on a Sunday. 8:30.
It's at 3:30.
You're looking at the wrong thing.
I'm looking at the next month. My bad. Either way, it's a late game. It's 8:30. But yeah, my bad. Carry on.
Oh, no worries. I was like, on Sunday at 8:30?
What are we doing?
And then I just want to talk about this one last game real quick, just because it's the first week of April. Then you go on the road to New York at Yankee Stadium, which is going to be something there. And the only reason why I bring it up is because the schedule doesn't seem easy. It doesn't seem overly hard, but Atlanta has started off slow in the past, right? And I think for Pineda, there is going to be pressure on him. We've talked about it through the entire season. This year they had a lot of downs early on in the year. They started off kind of hot early on. They were getting some nice games. A lot of blown leads though, and then the mid part of the season was just where they were in bad shape, right? They were losing a lot of games. There were player movements, and then it wasn't until after Leagues Cup that this team really got hot. My question is can Pineda get through this early stretch to be able to continue to maintain his job here? And I think that's going to be the talking point for the first couple months of the season, is depending on how Atlanta United does.
Well, I'll throw this out there too, really quick. And I didn't know this until I just looked at the full schedule. But that game in New York is actually at Citi Field, not Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which might be a good thing. Maybe.
I said the Yankees are playing on April 6th.
Yeah.
At Yankee Stadium.
I mean, it's still, 6 and 1, half a dozen the other. But maybe you just get the vibe out that you're not at Yankee Stadium. I don't know. But either way, it's a change of pace. And maybe they lose a little bit of their home field advantage. I don't know.
Well, I guess that's one strike on me, right?
Nah.
Yeah. I'm not gonna be able to do it during the game. No use baseball puns, so I got to get them out right now, right?
You had that on deck, didn't you, Tommy?
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. Sydney jumping in the dad jokes, man.
He was in the batter's box ready to go for that joke.
Oh my God. I'm going to ruin this.
Yeah, he hit a home run there.
I have no kids, but
I've got nothing.
Dad jokes. But
I've got my father-in-law is watching this right now, and he's probably like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm failing him miserably. No, my quick 2 cents on the schedule. August and September, you have the away game because you're coming back from Leagues Cup and all that craziness. So there's that big break, right? But the end of August, you've got LA in LA. Then you come back to Charlotte a week later. So you're going to Charlotte. But this is where that stretch of games that is like atmosphere just to the nth degree, because you've got Charlotte, Derby, whatever we want to call it.
Yeah.
Then you've got Nashville at home. That'll be a good one. Then you've got Miami at home. That'll be a good one. Then you go up to Red Bull Arena. We all know Red Bull. We know how those games can play out. I wish it was here then, but whatever. And then you go up to Philly. So that stretch of 5-6 games is a lot of potential, just good atmosphere and good watching for those of y'all that aren't Atlanta fans. Maybe you are here for the giveaway or whatever. I don't know. Hopefully you come in and hang out with us more. But those are good neutral games to watch for sure.
Yeah, and no, that's exactly right. And not to get too ahead of ourselves, but yeah, that's a definite gauntlet. And let's not forget, guys, between August 31st and September 14th, there's another break. So
it's always something, man. We're always We're always gapping things up.
Atlanta United, by the way, and the schedule is online, of course. Atlanta United have 2 weeks between their penultimate match and their final match of the season.
Again.
Yeah.
Again.
Gotta love the scheduling. But yeah.
So
I'm trying to think what there is to do in Orlando in October.
I mean, there's a pretty
good. They have haunted nights.
There.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
So
true.
yeah, they have the haunted. They have the haunted houses at Universal.
That'd be good.
Best
That'd be
haunted houses you'll ever attend, guaranteed, 100%. The lines are insane, but once you get into those haunted houses, they're the best ones that you can go to.
I'm always afraid I'm going to punch somebody in a haunted house. I just don't react well to.
Don't be angry.
It's not that I'm angry. I'm trying to save my life.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be part of a horror film. Start swinging at people.
Just don't go.
So,
yeah, I don't.
Before we get into the 2023 review, I was thinking about something when we were talking about Pineda real quick, and it's interesting because I was just reading an article on The Athletic about Arthur Blank and the situation that the Falcons are in right now. And if you follow the Falcons, this was supposed to be a big year for them. They were supposed to take the jump. They spent a bunch of money in free agency. They were supposed to be better. They were supposed to probably win this terrible division that they're in. And they're basically looking like they're going to get the same record as they were when they didn't have all these good players. And Arthur Blank in the past he's hated to move on from coaches. He's delayed things a little bit too long. Dan Quinn was a big example, and held on to him a little too long after that Super Bowl disaster. And then you look at what's happened with Atlanta United during that time. You know, you've moved on from Frank DeBoer, and that was a quick move, which was still probably one of the most shocking moments to me in Atlanta United history, because you just saw how long it took to get rid of Dan Quinn with the Falcons, and you know, one bad tournament in Orlando, and you move on.
Let me ask you this though.
Well, I'll throw this in there too, Sydney, just to. Because I think I know where you're going, and I think it might have a little bit to do with what you're saying. Omar saying, how likely do y'all think Pineda's contract is extended before the start of the season?
Well, what I was going to say is Arthur Blank has made no bones about the fact that, you know, he's not really he wasn't really a soccer guy before Atlanta United, but he's invested so much of his time, so much of his resources to the team to get it to hopefully the top of MLS. Hasn't always happened. So I wonder if with Atlanta United, he's more willing to let the soccer guys make the decision versus with I would say the Braves, the Falcons, which are, for lack of a better term, is bread and butter, right? I wonder if with the Falcons, he's more hands-on and he's saying, hey, you know, this needs to happen, that needs to happen. That's not to say he's hands off. Well, I don't want to go down that road because I'll get flamed by Falcons fans saying, yes, he is. That's not to say he's hands off with the Falcons. That's not to say he doesn't care about the Falcons. I mean, the results kind of tell a different story, but I kind of feel like he lets the soccer guys kind of handle their business. I don't let any United. That's just a theory. But I kind of feel like that's the case. And I feel like, you know, Pineda isn't Lagerwey's guy. I mean, granted, they worked together in Seattle, and maybe the relationship wasn't terrible. It wasn't horrible, but maybe wasn't as good as assumed. But, you know, Pineda is not Lagerwey's guy, and I feel like Lagerwey is going into, you know, this 2024 season saying, hey, this is it. If you don't succeed, you're gone. And I think they didn't extend Pineda with the belief that, okay, if things go south in a hurry, it's going to cost less to cut him loose at that point with him not on a contract past 2024 versus waiting toward the end of the season, letting him kind of twist in the wind and risking discontent from the fans. So that's just kind of my 2 cents. Look, if they just come out stumbling out of the season after what we assume should be a pretty solid winter window for them, I don't think Garth will hesitate at all to move on from Pineda.
Yeah, I mean, so to make my point and also to answer Omar's question, they're not doing anything with any of those contracts with
Right.
Pineda or Bocanegra
Right.
that was mentioned. That was said by Garth Lagerwey until the end of this season. So that's not to say that if the crap absolutely hits the fan, then they won't make a change. But if
Yeah.
Pineda comes out and wins his first 10 games or something, right?
Of
I
course,
don't.
they'll extend.
Yeah, but like you still got the knowledge that they're not going to go and at least maybe make it public, right? Until the closer to the end of the season. But I guess I look at this one as it's a really big challenge, and I hope Pineda looks at it this way, and I hope he instills this into the players. Yeah, you do have a little bit of a buzzsaw in the beginning of this season with Columbus, reigning champs. I mean, New England kind of up in the air, but yeah, like you were saying, Tommy, Orlando. So, but you have a chance to come out and prove yourself because you're going to have a vastly different team than you had really since Pineda's been here. So I think it's an opportunity really, and it's a challenge. Absolutely. But you could come out and really show what these moves are about. And it's Pineda's chance to prove everybody wrong as well, because it's kind of been in all the Atlanta United circles that, Pineda has this game plan and maybe, yes, another coach could get more out of the players that we had possibly, but now you are going to have the players, I think, to really make a legitimate starting 11 that could go really, really far in this league. And so there's no excuses. So yeah, I mean, if they go out and crap the bed in the first, 10 games, absolutely.
Yeah.
I could see changes. But the inverse of that is, I mean, what if they come out and beat the reigning champs in lower.com field day one? I mean, what are people going to be saying then? Of course, it's one game, but also look at what happened with Cincinnati. I mean, all of these are like, oh, New England might not be good. Toronto sucks. Chicago, oh, whatever. We see how quickly those things can change, just in one off season. So it could be very, very different.
Plus, guys like Yako, guys like Shande, Saba, Muyimba, they'll have enough season to prepare and train with the team.
Yeah.
Time to rest. They'll have time to really, especially Yako, who has kind of had this, nagging injury. Not serious, but it's kind of been sticking around for a little bit. So,
I mean, he's good enough to be dancing in front of a gas station in Greece somewhere.
Exactly.
And got married.
Was that his bachelor party? Was that his bachelor party? Was it at a gas station? Just dancing in the middle of a gas station?
Like, is this
Congratulations
Atlanta
to
or is this
on
Greece?
the marriage.
A big fat Greek wedding.
I expect to see someone in the background dropping chicken wings in the middle of the parking lot and with a
throwing down plates at the gas station.
Yeah. I could go on with this. He seems like he'd be a great guy to party with.
Right. The Greece.
I mean, and
the Greece can kind of throw down. I feel.
I guess my last thought here was that, I mean, is there a reason to be worried? Because I think that this team right now, when you look at it, how they finished the season overall, had a hell of a last quarter of the season, right? I mean, they still couldn't win on the road, and I think that those are going to be the two things that we look at here. Is one, can they win on the road? Obviously, very important. Still one of the worst home or away teams. That's got to get fixed. Two, defensive. The defensive aspect of your game has been pretty much non-existent. You've allowed the most goals, I believe over like a 2-year span. It's been pretty high. A lot of silly mistakes. You're able to bring in a center back that hopefully, that Pineda was part of bringing him in, right? You're probably looking for a defensive midfielder. You're looking for something here to make this team better across the board. Can they do that? We will see. But that's one of the things that I want to see is it's just, all right, we just went up 1-0. Is it going to be 1-1 35 seconds later? Because that's been what's been happening since Pineda's come in.
Yeah.
Right. You just start the clock. Like, I remember when we were at, when you go to a Crew game, they have the clock up there, and like when they show stoppage time, like how much time's left there. I feel like we should have a clock going after a goal happens to see how long it's going to take the other team to tie the game up, because that's just what happens every game. You score the goal, they come back and they score immediately. It's got to change, and I think I think a lot of it is the mental aspect of the game, and maybe that's on the players. Maybe that's on the coaching staff prepping them on how to handle, after they scored a goal here. But man, they've got to get that figured out quick.
They did it under Tata too, but maybe not to the extent that they did it.
No, not to that extent.
Exactly. I'm being tongue in cheek, but no, I agree. I agree.
But hey, I got one name for you when it goes back to Tata, and that is, well, I could say two, but Jeff Larentowicz, because it's not always about the center backs. It's about having somebody that's right in front of them that is controlling everything. And then Nagby, of course, as well. That's a big deal. But defensively, a guy like Larentowicz, and then of course a guy like Parkey, and just that the IQ of the game and the leadership, but still the athleticism to track back when things don't go well, right? That goes a long way in shoring up a defense.
Yeah, and one of the things what do those guys have in common? They had history in MLS. What did Atlanta United just go do? They went out, they traded for the top spot, looking to bring in, a veteran of MLS, and I feel like that's a Garth Lagerwey type thing to do, is to bring in some players that know this league and know the physicality as well, because I think you've heard a lot of players say that MLS is a little bit more physical than what they thought it was going to be, right? Pity was falling down left and right. You went too fast past him, he'd go down to the ground and, say, the wind got him, give the wind a foul. You've got to be able to figure out something. Jeez. You gotta get figured out, and veterans of MLS know that. So maybe that's something that we look for here as rumors start to continue to happen. Is maybe some of these rumors are MLS players as opposed to looking in other countries. They're here, and I think that's what especially a lot of people in our spaces have said. Like, let's look for guys that know this league, because I think the thing that we get sick of hearing, and we didn't hear this with the newer guys that have come in, but like, oh, it takes a while for us to get used to MLS, right? And how MLS is, reffed, and the physicality. If you get some of these guys in here and they're the right pieces, right? But Atlanta did that perfectly early on. Larentowicz, Garza, Parkhurst, like these are guys that know the league. And it was just like, okay, we're just starting the season off, right? Oh yeah, we got to travel to LA, in a couple weeks. Cool, we're used to that travel. But like, those are just constant things that we heard from new players coming into the league. Oh, I'm not used to traveling on a 4-hour flight, right? Like, these are just little things that can help here. And I feel like a Garth Lagerwey and the history that he's shown with Seattle is that they're going to be looking for more guys in MLS going forward. And
those intangibles go a long way in MLS. And as M20714 says, if you kept tapping gems from French second division, that would be good.
It's John Gregerson, baby. New center back. I hope.
Let's get him signed quick.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do not want to be on Visa Watch. I am so sick of Visa Watch, man.
Me too.
Hey, but you know what? Hey, if you're on Visa Watch and your first game of the season is, losing to Columbus, on the road, and then you get all your guys ready for, the second game of the season, it's not the end of the world. But, let's like Tyler said, let's upset Columbus in Columbus, and hopefully my Columbus friends are listening to this right now.
For the keeper.
All right.
Hostile environment.
Yeah, right. So it's December 27th. Almost the end of the year. Let's wrap up 2023. We saw Henry do this. He did a poll of some of the best moments of 2023. I was listening to Jason Longshore's podcast today. Friend of the show. Check his out. He was talking about some of the top things of the year. He played like a Mike Conti like best boom Yakamakis, and I was out jogging, and man, there was a couple moments where I thought my ear was gonna get blown out just from Mike Conti yelling boom Yakamakis. But we're gonna start with this. What was your guys' best acquisition of 2023? You can't say Garth Lagerwey because I think that was technically 2022.
It was.
Okay.
Well,
Sydney, you go ahead. I gotta really think about this one for a second.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking of two players in my head. The first player is Shande Silva, and you guys we were kind of talking about a few weeks ago who had the most impact on the wing. Was it Shande or Saba? And after kind of thinking about it, I think Shande. He had a few games of bad form, but I feel like he really adds something to the club or to the attack that is more than goal scoring. It's more than playmaking. He has that intangible. He has that edge to him. We saw with the Spider-Man celebration. We saw with his flips, which kind of are make people cringe because if he falls the wrong way on that turf, he's probably done for a year. So knock on wood that doesn't happen. But yeah, but no, he just kind of brings that edge to the team, to the attack that they need, and you know, uh, I I'm assuming when we say acquisitions, I'm assuming Yako doesn't count. Are we counting that?
No,
as
you
well?
can count
That was
that.
2023.
Yeah, no, he definitely has that edge to the team. So that was one of them. The other one was Muyumba.
You just said
And
3, now 4 players.
no, hold on. No, the other
All
one,
the
second
D,
one,
all the above.
right. The second one I was thinking about was Muyumba, and I'll choose between the two in the second. Muyumba, the way he elevated that midfield really right off the bat in Leagues Cup, we saw it. Just affected the match in the club in such a positive manner. I remember I forget what match it was, but he just made this sliding tackle on somebody, and I was just like, oh my gosh, he's gonna get sent off, isn't he, for this tackle? Well, just a perfect tackle. It was just maybe a bit of a reckless challenge, if we're being honest with ourselves, but it was a perfect challenge, and I feel like a few inches would have gotten him sent off and maybe suspended for a match or two. But yeah, I'm kind of leaning toward Muyumba. I feel like Yakamakis is kind of the easy choice, but I feel like from an overall standpoint, Muyumba just think of what he means to the team, what he's meant to the team thus far. And we talked about, again, these guys will have an off season for the first time with Atlanta United. So they get a chance to train together, gel together in the off season, really grow to appreciate one another even more, gain that chemistry together, and become better players as a result. So for me, Tristan Muyumba is my best acquisition of 2023.
It's Mayumba for me all day. My second was Yakimakis because you can't just count out the guy that came in and scored 15 goals after having not really had an off season at all. He adds so much to this team. I got to give like a special shout out just to how he is in the locker room. But, and again, that's something that we try to put out there. Like we try to put out in the tweets from the locker room and stuff like that. But it's not something that you can put a finger on, right? But he's a guy that just, you can tell everybody respects him and the experience that he brings. Yakimakis is the easy answer, but Tristan Muyumba has been a game changer for this team in the best way. He has been out of the two midfield positions that needed an improvement. He has done more work than he needed to. He has been a massive improvement. Massive improvement. So you get that number 6 behind him.
And
right?
He elevated Hasetu's play as well.
Yeah, he made Hasetu a totally different player in a
He
good
made
way.
us not hate him. That's enough. That's enough. Give him the award. Give him the award.
He single-handedly caused Tommy to take his contract off of Mateus Hasetu. I just think Muyumba has been a game changer. And if you can hit on a guy like that in the number 6 position, and the best part is like Muyumba can play both of those positions. If Pineda's sticking with the same kind of setup that he has, and he's not going to change, I don't think that's going to happen. If something goes wrong, like you can move Muyumba back to the defensive midfielder position and he can handle it. He played it in League 2. He's done it. But he's so much better when he's he's a little bit up the field, and he's right there behind and working with Almada. So yeah, it was a totally different team when he showed up. Totally different team. It's amazing what the midfielders can do, and it's amazing because you don't typically pay attention to the midfielders in a game. You watch the attackers and you watch the defenders, but the midfield is where these games are won or lost, because if you don't have a midfield, you're playing out wide, and then you're predictable. But you got a guy that can do what Muyumba does. It changes the whole dynamic of the team. And yes, 100%, it's all him.
I say all the time, I feel like a midfielder is like an offensive lineman. You don't notice them unless they screw up. So
yep,
I totally agree with you on Muyumba.
So it was unanimous as the 2023 best acquisition, just Mayumba. I'm not going to add anything. You guys pretty much said it all. For me, it was that Seattle game. I think, like Sydney, you said, it was that last Leagues Cup game. I think was like his first start. But man, when you saw him against Seattle that game, it was like, wow, like this is going to be consistent with him, right? Like now we've seen back-to-back performances where like it's fun to watch Atlanta United, and I think that if you don't bring him on, I don't think Saba, Silva, Giakoumakis, Almada, all these guys are as good in the second half. I don't think you see any type of performance increase that you see if you don't bring him on. So yeah, I 100% agree. That's best acquisition. So unanimous. I think this is the first time we've all agreed on one thing. So congratulations to us, right?
Hey, it's a Christmas miracle.
Yes.
So I had to change my next one though, because Sydney stole this one too for me. So favorite Atlanta United moment of 2023. Sydney, I'll let you go first.
Oh, Almada's brace against San Jose by far. I mean, no question. I mean, not sure what more can be said about it.
I hugged so many people that game. Like that was like the first moment where I was like, you know what? Like I don't care about COVID anymore. I hugged these two little kids' mom. She was so happy when they scored that goal. She was ready to walk out. I said, "Don't leave." I go, "You don't know what's gonna happen." She hugged me. Oh, it was great. Those kids were like traumatized. I hugged their mom, but man, it was a great moment.
For me, it was okay. I got to give a shout out. Omar's got he's got a point on this one. This is not mine, but Nick Firmino's goal, the one goal that he had after being on the field for 8 minutes or whatever it was.
Come on.
I mean, that was awesome. That was, no, right. I mean, yes, a totally different set of circumstances.
Give him credit.
But I mean, you got a World Cup winner and a guy that is the magician free kid. And then you got Nick Firmino, who's been grinding his way up through New England and everywhere else. And for him to go into the bins for the first time playing in the bins and do that was pretty cool. For me, though, I will give it to Almada again. But that free kick he scored, I think it was against Portland, that was from like 35 yards out that he had no business taking at all, that had so much English on it. When it was traveling towards goal, nobody thought it was going in. And then to see everybody's reactions, I've watched it so many times, but my favorite reaction is the picture of Miles Robinson behind, because there was one of the camera folks from Atlanta United had taken up right behind the goal. And so the ball goes in, and then you see everybody celebrating and Miles standing like a mile back waiting for the counterattack. And he just drops to his knees, and he's just like, so, no, I'm so happy to have seen both of those in person, but that 35-yard free kick and to have Kevin Egan commentating on it was even better.
Yeah.
So before I get to my final moment, back to Sydney's, I remember after the Almada goal, our friend Patrick Egan was on the call for that game, and I just kept replaying the video over and over and just kept hearing Almada. Played it nonstop the entire way, all the way down the street. Like I was just all the way to our hotel room, was listening to it nonstop. But my favorite moment was the entire weekend of the Miami game, because so much happened, right? I flew down for that game, but you start the weekend, I'm leaving. I flew down, I think, Friday for that game. What's the talk? The talk is Tata Martino says Messi's coming to Atlanta. He's playing. We're ready for it. we're there. I get down there, I start hanging out with a friend, and then, Tyler goes on detective watch, finds out that Messi posts a picture of the pizza. Yes, Travis, I'm talking about Pizzagate here. Uh, I'm at the bar. I'm so many drinks in. I don't even know what I was by Brew House. I think it was like right in that area over there that you were at, and I end up, he's like, I'm calling the pizza place. I'm like, oh, I'm trying to explain to like the people at the bar I'm with that don't care about soccer at all, like the significance of what this is. But like, I'm just tied to my phone right now. I got back to my hotel. I had like 2% on my phone because I'm looking at all the retweets and everything like that. So it was crazy because they opened up the top of the stadium because they expected a Messi to be there. You saw a lot of people coming in Messi, and like I didn't really know what to expect in that game. I expected to be 60-40 somehow, and I didn't really know which way it was going to be because I think it's just it's Miami and they have so many stars on that game, and then you find out that it's not that Messi's not going to be there. And you get in there, and Atlanta just does a dominating performance against this team. Yeah. And I feel like the people that were planning on going there to root for Miami, it changed them because Atlanta played one of the best games of the season against that Miami team. Yes, it didn't have Messi, but you made everyone else really not look good in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just like, it was a moment where it was like, man, like, is this the moment where you realize that this team is back to being what they're supposed to be? And I felt, I mean, I don't know what the attendance was in that game, but I mean, it was probably one of the most attended games since MLS Cup. And it just felt that way. And it felt like 96% of that stadium was completely all about Atlanta United there.
Yep.
People that were there to, root for, everyone else on the Miami team, they forgot about that quick. It was like, screw it. We're Atlanta United fans. Let's go.
Yep. Yeah.
No, that was a great match.
That was a fun one. And yeah, the whole thing, the whole weekend was just so interesting. It was kind of surreal, right? Because it was not supposed to go the way that it did.
Yeah.
And, everybody's like, oh, well, Messi didn't play. And that's fine. Messi's not a defender. And you got 5 dumped on you.
True.
So, yeah, that was a fun weekend. Way more fun than I thought it was going to be, admittedly.
Yeah.
The hangovers were great. All right, so we got 2 more here, and then we're going to do.
Calling the pizza place was like, that was not the highlight of my weekend, but the
highlight of the season.
Yes, absolutely. The guy's voice when I asked him, he was just like, yeah, man, like they just delivered it to his place like 45 minutes ago. And he was like, you're the first person that's called. I was like, wow, that's actually really surprising. But hey, man, I had to do that detective work somehow. I took one for the people.
Did good.
And it was great because we ran into Mike Conti and Jason Longshore after the game. Tyler was driving back to the hotel, and I remember Mike Conti goes, did you really call the pizza place? All right, we got 2 more here, and then we'll do the raffle. Team MVP.
Yako.
Okay.
Far.
Again,
you can't, as Tyler was saying earlier, you can't really discount the guy that scored like
I mean
goals. So
I feel like
Almada would be the easy choice, but I feel like this is gonna be a little controversial. I feel like at times he didn't really deliver in quite the way he was expected to. So I'll just leave it there.
This is why I asked this question, because I knew this was going to be controversial. So you're up, Tyler. Now, look, I know Miguel Berry is a very, very easy one to pick.
No, it's
right.
Not. He's not the.
It's not controversial, but you can pick Miguel if you need.
Why have you done this? I'll say Miguel because he had my number 19, just like Arujo before him.
He scored 1 more goal than you though this season.
He did, but he missed a lot more than me as well. True. So I got that going for me. I'm still going to say Almada. Because I don't think you have, because I get what you're saying, Sydney. I totally understand what you're saying. There's games where, you you kind of want him to do what he did against San Jose, right? Or some of these other games where he was the guy because he was the only guy that was playing soccer. But Sean De Silva in the second half of the season, Saba in the second half of the season, even Yako to a degree, they don't do what they did without Almada there to provide the dimes and assists. And he's still that guy that even when he's getting completely marked out of a game, at minimum, he's taking all that attention away from those other guys. But he still found a way in so many games, even when it wasn't like necessary, it wasn't needed. Some of the goals where it was the one in the 80th minute or 85th minute to put Atlanta up by 2 goals or even 3, he still got on the score sheet. But it's the assists for me. It's just his ability to put a ball from anywhere on the pitch to anywhere else on the pitch. To me, it's got to be him.
Almada. And Sydney, I get where you're coming from because there were a lot of games where he disappeared and it seemed like he was trying to do too much at points where it was hurting the team, right? Like he wasn't making that pass that he probably should have made. Instead, he was trying to make that spectacular move. But I think overall, with the performance that he had, I think it was Almada. And listen to Jason Longshore. He said on his show that he doesn't think we'll ever see a performance out of a player in a season as what we saw from Almada this year. And I agree, and I hope that we can at least keep him until the summer. We haven't seen a lot of rumors. Now, there could be some desperate teams out there, like Manchester United, that might try to go make some offers for him. We'll see what happens. But if we can keep him until the summer, I think that that hard start that we saw or that we just talked about in the schedule, I don't think is as hard as what it seems because we would be able to at least keep him here for a little bit longer.
Travis threw one out of the chat. We got to hit on that. Brooks Lennon, the career year, his best year with Atlanta United, and no question, we got to give him his flowers. Like Travis saying in the chat, and he was terrific, and really showed his value with Atlanta time and time again during the season, and really hoping that he can build on it in 2024. I forget, is he under contract through 2025 or when is that contract end?
Brooks, he just got a 4-year contract before this past season.
Gotcha. Yeah, just got extended.
Right. Yep.
So can we all agree he's the unsung hero then?
100%. 100%.
Okay.
And
we're 2 out of 3 guys.
We're
making it.
I need him to get a national team call up. He deserves it, I think.
Indeed. I'm surprised he didn't get one. You could still get one for a Kent Cupcake, but I think he
really quick.
it.
Tommy, before we move on, were you going to hit on something real quick now, or were you about?
Well,
to move on?
Just Brooks Lennon real quick. He came in a bad time, right? He comes in here. Joseph Martinez gets hurt. He doesn't have a striker basically until this season, right? Nobody consistent. Kubo's not doing it for him. Screw Adam John. He's not doing anything from here. Still mad about that Columbus game. But I mean, like everything about it, like he's never had a legit striker until this year. So now you can see what he has with talent, and absolutely, and that cross that he had in game 2 at home against Columbus, perfectly on the mark to Giakoumakis. That just proves what that he can do when you have somebody that can actually finish.
So like Russell Joseph connection, right?
Yeah.
Well, you hope it continues with another season of it. Absolutely.
And that's something that I know we've talked about it on the show back when he said it, I think in the summer, or maybe a little bit after the summer. But being there at the training ground when he says, me and Yako work on these crosses together all the time. And he says, I don't have to pick my head up to know where Yako's going to be at. Yeah. That's huge. Like it's something so little, but that is huge because Brooks, he's gotten so much better with his crosses and his free kicks. It's kind of an unsung aspect of his game as well as his free kicks is he doesn't have to take them much because of Almada, but he takes corners all the time and he's getting really, really good at them. So yeah, I just think it's great that he has the target and he's got somebody there to elevate his game as well. So really quick, I just had to go back because everybody dropping their own answers to some of these things. in the chat. Going back, a lot of people saying about the first question, Tristan Miyamba. I think that was like unanimous from a lot of people. Five Stripe Dog, Travis, Omar saying Tyler Wolf. Tyler Wolf had a phenomenal season as well. Actually,
Yeah,
He felt like an acquisition because it was an entirely different player.
right.
yeah, and talking about a super sub for the first half of the season, he would come on and be huge, right? Let's see. We had the WWE conversation here in the chat, which was great.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that was Tommy is so happy right now. Pizzagate, good old Pizzagate, and then down to the most recent one, everybody's Turtle saying Almada, and then yes, Garth.
Garth Lagerway getting a lot of shout outs in the chat as well as far as team MVP.
Yeah, Bruno saying Yako. But yeah, just I want to give everybody in the chat a shout out as well because we appreciate y'all answering, chiming in too. So
before we do the raffle, just want everybody kind of give their final thoughts of 2023 in Atlanta United. And if you guys don't mind, I'll start. From
Go for it.
Amen, Anthony.
The
Aruju. I forget he played for us at some. I forget like that first game. All I remember the first game was the Almada goals and Ludacris, hitting the golden spike, and Aruju missing that PK. That was a great moment too.
Years ago.
Yeah, right. But man, my final thought for the year is that we're seeing proof of concept of what Garth Lagerwey is bringing here. The hiring of the office jobs, the analytics, the scouting. You've seen some very good acquisitions throughout the season, right? I mean, you got Giacomakis before all of that was brought in. He was good. But you just look at that summer transfer window and how it changed the team. And now you look going into this season of how many open spots that you have and how much open cap space that you have that you've freed up. I feel that this team is on its way up, and I feel that this team should be making an MLS Cup appearance within the next 2 years.
We're gonna strip that audio and video and keep it on tabs.
Oh yeah, bring it up. 2024 MLS Cup. Bring this back up.
Let it be known, Tommy Moose is calling his shot
while in his unknown green kit. Sydney, what you got?
No, I don't want to. And Tommy, I see where you're coming from. I don't want to say, okay, Atlanta United is going to be an MLS Cup within the next 2 years or anything like that. That being said, this team has to be markedly better than they were in 2023. Not only from a result standpoint, but we mentioned it already from a mentality standpoint. You can't ship goals at the end of matches and it costs yourself points. You can't have defensive lapses. You can't have, mistakes in the midfield. You can't have periods of time where you're not scoring goals. You can't have opportunities where you're getting chances but not delivering those chances and taking those chances. This team has to be better. And I feel like what we've heard from this front office, they've really sent a message that, okay, the past few years haven't been good enough. This team needs to be challenging near the top of MLS year in and year out. You have the people in place to get them there. And I feel this is put up for shut up time for Pineda for sure. He's working with, not working without a contract in 2024, but this is it. He has no contract after this year. And this is your make it or break it year. We mentioned this earlier. If he doesn't get this team to a point where they're contending, I would say top four. If they don't make the playoffs, he's gone. No question about it. But if they're not contending in top four, if they're barely scraping by, if they're getting like 8th, 7th, 8th place, you got to have a conversation about who's leading this team in 2025. You seriously do. And I will argue you have to have a conversation about what your technical director position looks like in 2025 as well. So a real make it or break it year. I feel like this team has to be better in 2024.
Well, to make your thought and my thought a baby, like I think you can.
Oh.
Well, sorry, we're getting dirty here. It's not 9 o'clock yet, so it's not Scarves and Spikes after dark yet. But like you look at Columbus and what they were able to do, right? They brought on a new coach and immediately win a MLS Cup. So if you got the talent and Pineda's not there, at the end of the season, then my 2-year thing could still be in effect if you bring in the right coach into the next season, right? So I even if this year it doesn't work out for Pineda, I still think that they're building for something, within the next few years to be able to contend.
I mean, you see what happened with Wilfred Nancy coming into Columbus. I mean, that's another proof of concept. And to give you guys some optimism, I mean, Wilfred Nancy and Gonzalo Pineda actually have probably two of the most like-minded systems of two coaches in MLS at this point. It's just a matter of execution. And, we'll see if Gonzalo Pineda can do what Nancy did in terms of just getting that star and getting that cup. But I mean, overall, I think for the season, to answer your question, I think, yeah, you've got all the right ingredients. You've got most of the right ingredients. Let me rephrase that. You still have some things that you've got to fix. Obviously, we've talked about it. I'm beating a dead horse at this point, but defensive midfielder, get your center backs situated, but not just add in the players. You've got to fundamentally get the right mindset there of what is defending for this team. And what is that mindset of, no, if it's a 1-0 game and we're winning, it's going to be a 1-0 game unless we score again, because we're not going to let them. We're not going to let them. We're not going to break. We can bend, fine. We're not going to break. You've got it there. You've got the guys up in the front office that are pulling the strings, and they're hitting with these signings. I mean, there was not a bad signing in that summer transfer window, right? I mean, you got rid of Arujo. You brought in 4 guys, and even the one we haven't really talked about much is Jamal Tiare. But even he looked, as a backup striker, looked leaps and bounds better than anybody we've had as a backup striker for Atlanta United, I think, at all, ever, that I can recall off the top of my head. So the things are there. The right strings are being pulled. We've also said it. If this is not a good year, then yeah, you have to make a change. But I'm actually very optimistic for what this team can do when they get all the right pieces in place. And then they've just got to execute. And you go out, I mean, just think about it like this. You handle your business at home, right? Which Atlanta historically does. Knock on wood, that doesn't change ever. And you go out and you win 2 or 3 more, the 2 or 3 that you should have won this year, right? Until your defense gave up stupid goals at the end of the game. You go out and win those 2 or 3 games, and you're sitting up in the top of the Eastern Conference. Yep. So that's my bit. I'm excited. I think they're going in the right direction. I think it's a genuine thing to be optimistic. This is the most optimistic I've been about this team since Joseph Martinez tore his ACL in 2020 and the world went to crap. And with that, I'll ask y'all this question. I'll answer it first. The last thing, this is very short. What is
Don't sign Miguel Berry?
Well, the Galaxy are already on their way.
We might have to fight the Galaxy for him. I don't know.
Hey, you might. Can you imagine if he comes in against us?
Don't even say it. Just shut up. Just go on. Go what you were saying. I'm sorry for interrupting you. This is my bad.
You shouldn't open your mouth.
This is my bad. I started this. This is my sin.
You did it. You did it to us. What is success to you for this team in 2024? And to me, it is a Champions League, Champions Cup spot. I just think in one of the many ways that you can make it to Champions Cup,
exactly,
you've got to be back in that competition. I selfishly, I love those competitions. I love seeing my team play against, Costa Rican teams, or, obviously I would play a lot of Liga MX teams nowadays, but others, right? Like that you're not going to typically play. Champions Cup spot, period. Icing on the cake, obviously any piece of silverware would be phenomenal. I don't care if it's Open Cup. I don't even care if it's the Eastern Conference Championship.
Well, it's good. MLS
Whatever.
Can play an Open Cup at least for the next year.
Yeah, oh my God, don't even get me started on that. I'm dipping out now on that one. So What
I
y'all
was
got?
gonna say AmFam Cup, but that's gone. That was gonna be my big moment of the year was getting that AmFam Cup trophy back because now it's gonna be who won it last year. I don't even remember.
Pachuca?
Yeah, whatever. They're gonna have it
Or
for
was
2
it
years in a
Toluca?
row.
They rhyme. I can never remember who we played last year. Either way,
Just
yeah.
Toluca, yeah.
I would say two things. What Garth Lagerwey was looking for last year, which was, I assume they keep the same playoff format, but home field throughout that first round, keeping the 2 out of 3 at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but a trophy for sure. You have U.S. Open Cup, obviously, coming back and which is great. But you've got a lot of chances for some type of trophy here, right? I mean, you got Leagues Cup added on there as well. Um, can they win one? I think Open Cup is realistic. Leagues Cup is going to be difficult, I think, because I assume by the time Leagues Cup comes around, there's a very good chance that'll be around the time when Almada is getting moved out. So there could be a lot of turmoil for Atlanta United through that. But I think if you can finish in the top 4, that's huge. If you can get any type of trophy, that's a bonus. But I think the Open Cup is definitely the way to go. But yeah, I mean, with Leagues Cup this year and us just thinking about the Almada move, like I wouldn't say this club will be in turmoil because I think at that point in time you'll be ready for it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's going to know it, but whoever they bring on to replace Almada, is he going to be able to make an immediate impact? Time will tell, and who the player is. But yeah, I would like to finish top 4 at least.
Yeah, me too. From an MLS standpoint, definitely top 4. Like you were saying, Tommy, with a trophy or 2 thrown in, that will grant you, like Tyler was saying, passage to Champions Cup. We joked around about it. U.S. Open Cup, MLS teams is kind of touch and go a little bit there, where MLS said, we want our next pro teams to play in it instead, but U.S. Soccer said no way. I feel like that's your best chance at a trophy, at least in 2024. Failing that, definitely, a top 4 spot in the East. And Tyler, like you mentioned, with there being so many mechanisms for teams to make the Club World Cup, which would be or not the Club World Cup, Champions Cup.
I mean, I'll take Club World Cup too.
Yeah, exactly. Being in the U.S. in 2025, but with so many mechanisms to make the Champions Cup, you gotta push for that. You gotta push for that and get yourself back into that conversation. So, I think that does it for me. I love an MLS Cup. I love a deep playoff run. Don't get me wrong, but definitely a trophy or 2. Yeah, definitely get that top 4
Yeah.
slot, close enough to get you, into Champions Cup.
Um,
I was going to say this comment here, being a confident, cohesive unit, felt this past season morale was pretty low. I felt that way early on in the year. Obviously, there were a lot of moves that were very awkward on how it happened. Arouge was obviously an important player, and I think at least the players liked him a lot. Him moving on quickly. The Ibarra situation was, I have to imagine, a very awkward moment for the players that were still on this team, having to watch on how that was handled and how Ibarra obviously handled it. But I would say that if you looked just as, for me who lives out of town, watching it on TV, it seemed like that this team became very cohesive. And winning will do that, right? Like winning will make a team more cohesive and make, morale go up. But like even just, when I flew out for the playoff game and, like seeing the locker room of just what the vibes were around there, it seemed like everybody was really for each other. And it seemed like the cohesion's there. Now, if you can continue that from here, and you obviously are keeping right now, you know that you're keeping a lot of your main players around. Now, there's still some moves here, but I mean, you've got some of your bigger players, right? You've got your front 3 there, right? Of Giacomakis, Silva, Saba. Like you're keeping these guys here. You're likely keeping Guzan here, whether you like it or not. All these things are going to be, I think the cohesion is going to stay there. My only worry here, and it's probably dumb, but it's the Guzan having to fight for his starting spot. I'm curious how that would. I feel like Brad's a fighter, but I feel like also Brad, if
100%.
he loses the position, right, that he would be able to handle it well. But I'm curious how that thing is going to work out in the preseason. That's my biggest thing to watch in the preseason is who wins that and how it's handled in the media, the press, the interviews, all of that.
I think he would handle it like a pro. I don't think that.
Yeah.
I don't think. I don't foresee. Now, I don't think he's gonna make it easy by any means. But as a fan, you don't want that, right? I think if Josh Cohen comes in and just starts day one and continues, I think Brad is a stand-up guy. I really do. I like Brad a lot. I like how honest he is, brutally honest, which I think is great. And but I don't see him having any issues. So
likewise.
Really quickly, and I know we keep dangling that dollar in front of everybody with the fishing line like that commercial. You almost had it. We're about to do the giveaway. People in the chat saying like 5 Stripe Dogs saying top 4. You hit on what M20 said. Bruno saying, talking about the Club World Cup, Atlanta versus Manchester United would be my dream game.
Yeah.
Tommy's
Tommy
as well,
would
probably.
self-destruct if that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Atlanta is undefeated against Manchester teams, by the way. Atlanta Chiefs beat Manchester City twice.
So history lesson there.
Yeah.
And yeah, and Turtle's saying we have to show growth. Unlikely that we win it off. If we can show growth, I'll be happier than a fly on a big pile of cow crap.
So
yeah, I think we all agree. Just some significant growth, some tangible growth, from 2023 to 2024 would be, very acceptable. We want to do the giveaway.
Hang on. Hold up.
You got some notes?
I got one last thing.
One more.
Because this is the last episode and we didn't prepare anything big. I wish we had time, but the holidays, Christmas, all that. Obviously, all of us, thank you for being a part of this for this first season, and also to every single guest that we have had on from the beginning with Tristan Traeger, Rod Underwood from Chattanooga,
Gutman.
Andrew Gutman, DJ
Our
EU.
first interview, right?
Yeah. Kevin Egan, right? Mike Conti, Jason Longshore,
Taylor Twellman,
Nick Firmino, Devin Kerr, all the guys at MLS, guys and gals at MLS.
Henry, don't forget Henry. Don't forget Henry.
Yeah.
There's so many. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And like we can make a list like we have at the end of each episode with all our patrons and things, and it would take up this whole screen.
Yeah.
And we're blessed to be able to say that because that is awesome. And we appreciate all the guests and we appreciate all of y'all making this such a big thing for us in 2023. And we hope to quadruple it or more in 2024. So that's my 2 cents.
And with that, we have a great Patreon, as you were leading into that. That's called, setting us up right here. But join our Patreon. Say the website. I'm patreon.com/Scarves and Spikes. Yes, I got it right before you did. Join us. We do a lot of fun things. We're planning on doing some different things next season. We're still trying to figure it out, but we do watch along. So, if you're, someone watching at home, you want to, watch with other fans on Zoom, we'll be doing that next season as well. We'll try to be doing that a little bit more. We have our Discord page. We do extra episodes. We're going to maybe do some ones here in the off season to get ready for it. But yeah, it's join us. It's been a growing community and it's a lot of fun.
Yes.
100%.
All right. Now, are we ready to do the giveaway?
Who's gonna win Tyler Pilgrim for one night? Don't tell Mrs. Pilgrim.
In a bar with a flag.
What's behind that flag? You'll know if you win this wheel. Oh, I'm so nervous.
Me too.
So we're gonna
you got a modeling job.
Well done.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, we're gonna spin this wheel to see who wins, and we're gonna do it now. The wheel is spinning.
We need Kevin Egan back on here, like announcing it for us again.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
MGA
Hey!
714.
There you go.
Congratulations.
He's been very active in the chat.
Yes,
Yes.
he has.
Or she. I don't know.
Well done. We'll send you send us your info. We'll get you out this flag. I think Tyler.
Yeah,
will get you out
Tyler
this
will,
flag.
whatever you need. If you need, your carpet vacuumed, your car washed, whatever you need, Tyler will do that for you. We appreciate Tyler for this, but,
Yes.
Bruno wanted to win. Sorry, Bruno. You don't get Tyler for a night.
But there's more opportunities.
Yeah.
We have a couple of
Watch
these.
our
give
keep an
away.
eye on our socials, and we will definitely keep you up to date.
I hope that's you. If there's an imposter or a clone of you, then they've won.
Nobody go in there and change your Twitter names and everything.
But yeah, thank you all. Thank you all for hanging out with
absolutely.
us and putting up with us all year. It's been fun. The spaces, the shows, all of that. We appreciate you. I think we pride ourselves in being the most interactive, live type podcast out there with the live YouTubes, the live spaces. And if you haven't joined our spaces, come join us next year. It's a lot of fun. Come talk to us after the game, swear, scream, whatever. We've had it all in there. But you guys got any lasting words for 2023?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Boom Yakamakis, I guess. And thank you.
Yeah, stay tuned to our socials as well, as always, for whenever we're going live, whenever we're doing the episodes. And obviously, rumors will be going around, and any signings, any rumors, we'll be sure to report them. So yeah, definitely stay tuned to our socials, and we'll give you information on when the next episode will be. But thanks for a great
Kit
year.
rumors. I need a kit.
They're coming.
Where's Escobar to leak the kit? Is this the kit? I don't know, but I want to know. I want to know what I'm.
That better not be the kit. Don't do that to me.
No.
I'm not saying you're not doing a great job.
It can't be worse than the Forest kit. Can't be worse than the Forest kit.
Oh, dude.
Just burn it.
Don't even. Travis, weekly live shows. I just gotta say, weekly live shows.
We took a week off last week to get ready for Christmas.
So, Sydney, what you got?
No, I was saying I saw somebody with a Forest kit. I almost told them to burn it. I was in the store. I was in Costco. I saw someone wearing a Forest kit. I was told them to burn it, but that would have been rude. So
I mean, would it have been?
I know, right?
It would
have been a bad form.
Nah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. We 100% appreciate it. And
all right, guys.
2024 is on its way. Be safe on New Year's.
Yes.
Do not drink and
Or
drive.
get crazy and then order an Uber.
Yes.
Yeah.
We love you.
Yeah, sponsor us, Uber.
Yeah. Sponsor us.
Take an Uber home from an Atlanta United game. Don't throw up in the car, though. They charge you.
Yes. How do you know that, Tommy?
Because my wife almost did one. And I kept saying, we don't want to get charged. We don't want to get charged. We don't want to get charged. And I have a Ring video of her throwing up on the front door. So join our Patreon. I'll release the video. She's going to murder me when she sees this. If she
Please put that on the Patreon.
No.
Well, we look for a new co-host next week. So if you that's why. All right. That's all I'll go. Happy New Year.
Later.
Appreciate it, guys.